You're just making a prediction. But number one, why are you doing that? There can be only one really obvious reason to make her feel guilty about coming forward and testifying. Because now you're going to interrupt me.
Whew, guys, I got a high impact one for you today. This courtroom erupts when a judge calls out a mother for interfering with a case involving her own child. The judge shuts it down hard, exposes what's really happening, and lays down strict consequences with zero tolerances. The tension spikes fast and reality hits immediately. For nonstop courtroom drama and daily uploads, subscribe to Daily Courtroom Drama. Now let's jump into it.
Charged with the state jail felony of credit or debit card abuse. And Mr. Adams is here representing you. You're here for another reason, though. This court has received some very disturbing news and information from the jail authorities and the district attorney's office that you are involved in a pattern of threatening acts to others. You have sent messages of threatening acts, and those will be dealt with severely. What's they have to say? Can you explain what we're talking about here?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's been made aware that in their jail calls that were downloaded that show that Ms. Davis contacted the victim in this case, Malaysia Davis, via her grandmother's phone number, who she's now, it's a Helen Schenkel. The victim is now the grandmother has custody of her, rights were terminated of the parents. Grandmother has custody, and the defendant has been contacting the victim via that phone and asking her essentially to say something different than what the defendant has admitted to.
Isn't that kind of a crime?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well,
Tampering with the
grand
witness.
jury needs to move forward
Yes, sir.
and indict.
Yes, sir.
Some additional charges. We're not going to put up with that
Yes, sir.
manipulation.
And ask her essentially to say that in order for her to be able to get out of jail. I have the call as well that I'll try to admit if it's not very long. So if the court would like to hear that.
Yes.
And there's also another call, and there's lots of them, but I just got the one. There's one in which the defendant contacts, again, Geraldine Davis. That's the same kind of group of the same individuals that were living in the same house, Paige Davis from the previous hearing. She contacts Geraldine Davis and then three-way calls to Mr. Booker. And then they're communicating over the phone via basically both jail phones to each other. And so the state has brought this motion to, again, prohibit her from having any communications outside, so she can't tamper with any witnesses, as well as, again, communicating with the co-defendant.
Are y'all proceeding on bringing forth additional charges in front of the grand jury to see if they will indict additional charges for this person's behavior?
Yes, sir, absolutely. I believe it's very clear on the jail call from what was said.
Have you heard these?
I've been provided a copy of it, but
And he seems kind of oblivious as a lawyer. I don't know if I'd want him.
And Your Honor, I would offer State's Exhibit 1. If needed, I can get Mr. Mentor up here to.
I just want to take them on a short, like 30-second voir dire.
Were you here earlier on this other hearing? Because he testified as to.
No, I just want to ask him, just the one question is that can he?
Come on up, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I heard him. I was sitting down.
Okay. Because he sponsored the presentation of that. Raise your right hand, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm all statements you make during this hearing will be the truth, the truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Can you say with any certainty that that is my client's voice on that recording?
Yes, I can.
And then how would you know that that's her voice?
When someone is brought to jail, they have to set up the phone system themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's a two-part identification system using voice recognition and an individual PIN. The voice recognition matched the phone call. I monitored several phone calls and they're all the same voice.
So when you say voice recognition, your computer system, like Langston Adams, right? My voice is distinct from your voice.
Right.
So the computer system is going to be able to say, this is Langston and it is not Mentor.
Right.
And what you're saying is your computer system saying that that's her voice and not some other person's voice.
Yes.
But that's not all, right?
No.
There are other methods you have.
They also have an individual pin that the inmate sets up. It is
Okay.
unique to them. The connections that they make on the outside are also approved through them.
Mm-hmm.
So everything ties in together. We match all the phone calls with the voice recordings.
So you're saying that in addition to the technology to identify the voice, the inmate has to type in a particular PIN that's only associated with that inmate, right?
Yes,
And in this recording, are you saying my client typed in her particular PIN?
yes, she did. It's the only way she can access it.
And what was her PIN?
I have no access to that. That's individual to them.
All right.
That was a cool question he pulled. Oh, what's her pin? Because if he could admit to knowing it, it busts this whole case wide open.
Anything else?
Your Honor, state would just, oh, sorry.
You know, you're going to introduce.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, the state would offer State Exhibit 1. That's the jail calls.
Okay.
from the defendant.
Any objection? I'm not saying we have to listen to it. I think you've got access to it, but
Right.
it's for the purposes of this hearing and for the court's determinations on rulings from the matters in this hearing.
He's saying that it's less than a minute something, so I don't,
Well,
what you gonna play?
This one, these are actually a few, these are probably around 4 minutes, something like that, each of them 4 or 5 minutes. I only really want to play one of them, but
Okay.
I'd want to admit 2 of them, but just play the one where the witness was actually tampered with. in this
That's
case.
fine. If you gonna just play the one where he's saying that the witness is tampered, that's the most important one. That's the one that I'm more concerned about.
Go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor, asked to play that for the court.
Yes, you may. State's Exhibit 1 is admitted for this hearing.
Thank you.
And again, Your Honor, just to provide the background, this is a phone call made from the defendant Danielle Davis to her mother, Helen Shankle, who is the custodian and the guardian of the victim, Malaysia Davis now.
He said Helen Frankel,
Shankle?
Schenkel.
Yes, sir.
And you said that my client called Schenkel, and then Schenkel in turn had the kid on the phone.
Right, the defendant asked to speak with the victim and the
Okay.
victim was allowed on the phone. That has been addressed with the grandmother as well.
This is a prepaid call from Danielle Davis, an inmate at a correctional facility. Freeway or call waiting is not allowed and may automatically disconnect this call. This call is also subject to being recorded or monitored except for privileged communications between attorney and client. Please select from the following options. If you consent to this call being recorded and to accept this call, dial 1 now. To reject this call, dial 2 now. Your call has been accepted. Hello?
Before we listen to that call, I just got to point out that lawyer's face was hilarious. And I know why he was cringing the whole time. That audio tone, that frequency it hits, just pierces the ear. But still, those facial expressions are epic.
Hey,
Hey, was you asleep?
no, trying to keep this baby along.
Oh,
Give her a breathing treatment.
who, Julia?
Mm-hmm.
What's she,
And Your Honor-
what do you mean a breathing treatment?
Jalea is the baby of the
The
12-year-old.
Oh, okay. What Malaysia?
They have her back down somewhere. Oh, good shit, she back down.
Let me talk to her for a few seconds. Malaysia!
We'll see the previous file, please. That previous case. Thank you. Okay.
You might be here tomorrow.
Who?
Yeah. Well,
Hey, why you taking so long to come to the damn phone?
open my room.
Huh?
Open my room.
Why you sound like that?
I just woke up. Nothing.
Oh. You been good? You sure? You positive?
Yes.
All right, I love you, little sticky butt. Yeah, you do. You think I can feel you through the phone.
Mama,
What? Malaysia Nicole.
that's not my wife.
Keep thinking.
No,
I talked to Renee yesterday.
you did.
Yeah, I think she's gonna call you out later. Either sometime today though.
Did you
Yeah.
talk to Richard?
No, but they was going to vacation Bible school, but I heard, Jordan over there terrorizing them.
It's bad.
That's what she was telling me. I heard she like Jalea with the little twig in her head.
Julia likes this.
Huh?
Julia likes all of the church if you want it for me.
Be running from. Why you be running from?
I don't know, because she's walking out and she's trying to give him a hug, he'd be running from me.
But you doing all right?
Right after.
You doing all right?
Police?
Yeah.
So.
What you mean, so?
Like every now and then I have flashbacks, so other than that, I'm fine.
It's gonna be all right, okay?
Okay.
You should have told me from the get-go when you first asked it out.
I know, so.
But I understand you threatened you and stuff like this, so I know you were scared. So you go, I don't know if they gonna have you come to court and testify or whatever, but you need to let them know that you didn't tell me until the last minute.
Okay.
My mama could get up out of here.
And Your Honor, just to be clear, the defendant has made admissions to detectives and interviews that she knew well ahead of this, that things have been going on. I think up to potentially 2 years ahead of this, that she was
When
aware.
you say things have been going on. you
That she had been,
mean
the victim, I'm sorry, Your Honor, Malaysia Davis had been being sexually assaulted by the defendant, Mr. Booker.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine being a parent and knowing that that type of abuse is going on. Like, I'm not a big fan of government getting in the middle and taking your kids away, but in situations like this, I understand why CPS and other organizations exist to do that exact thing. This is horrendous.
But my brief response is what you actually heard with your own ears, because I was listening just like you. I saw you was listening. Is that what I heard the little girl and the mama say is hey, basically, you just telling me about this and to tell that truthfully in court. I mean, you heard what the lady said.
Is that the end of the conversation?
No, Your Honor, I'll keep
I'll
playing it.
darn thing.
Because to me, that don't sound like.
Let's listen to the whole thing.
And she also says right after that, so I can get up out of here. That's different than her statement to the detectives. Also, the victim never said that her mother didn't know until that point. So she's now providing her with information which she needs to tell them, which she told differently to the detectives.
But Judge, you heard it with your own ears. So that wasn't no threat to the kid. And
This isn't a debate, everybody. Let me hear the
Yes,
evidence
sir.
first before everybody starts arguing at one time, okay?
Right. I'm just
Otherwise
right.
chaos. It's not
Right,
gonna be
right.
chaos in this room.
Right,
Some
right.
order for a change.
But
Yeah,
no, Judge, I'm
like
just trying to make it.
kindergarten class all shouting at one time. Don't
Yeah.
do that. Let me hear the evidence before everybody sounds in.
Right.
Jeepers.
Girl,
So,
I don't know.
so,
They tell me until the last minute.
okay.
My mama could get up out of here.
So,
I don't know.
so, how does that work, Mama?
I don't know. They're probably gonna call you for it.
Well, I'm saying that, how does that, wait, what would happen if I just go against him? What would happen?
She'll go to jail.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying like,
She'll go to jail for a long time later.
that's what I was trying to make with it.
Yeah. If they got you testifying against him,
Hold on, mama, Papa call, hold on. Well, Papa.
hello? Hello?
That's essentially the end of it, Your Honor. She never gets back on.
Well, Judge, my position is if that's the end, the call actually helps me. It don't hurt me. Because if you listen to the call, and my argument would be, she begins the call where she's concerned about her child.
Right.
Hey, how you doing? You know, what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. And then in the call, I know you heard, Judge, she's talking to the little girl and telling the little girl about how the guy you had in the courtroom, she's acknowledging that dude has been threatening you, not her threatening the child, but that dude was threatening her. And then she goes on to say, I know you heard it, she goes on to say that, hey, I'm really just finding out about how he was threatening you. And then are you going to have to testify in court? Yes. And he is going to get a whole bunch of time because he's got to testify in court. There's nothing in that call I heard where she is threatening the little child. I didn't hear that. I didn't see a threat coming from her.
Your Honor.
So in the argument that I'm making is, in a sense, when he played the call, that call is not what you got in the last hearing. In the last hearing, what you got was somebody with text message saying, "I'm gonna kill you." You don't get that in this. In this, you don't get anything close to that in this. In this particular case, in a sense, that call kind of helps because, in essence, she's saying that the man gonna get a whole bunch of time for what he did. So that's not tampering. That's not saying come to your court and go lie to Judge Stevens. That's not saying, hey, don't come to court and testify against the man that's gonna get a whole bunch of time. That's not saying, hey, I'm gonna hurt you or do you harm. Actually, I think the call helps me.
All right, your point's been made.
Your Honor,
Man, I could only imagine being that lawyer and trying to defend her after all of that's come out. He must be able to separate his morals from his work a lot better than the rest of us.
and
Stay.
they don't have to threaten, it just has to be influence or in any way. So again, that's not really that relevant, that what a threat, it could be to influence them. And it certainly did. The child victim has been calling the court staff saying that the child is not his, not Mr. Booker's, constantly after she heard from her mother that he was going to go to prison for a very long time. Ms. Davis also.
Okay. Let me just ask a side note.
Yes.
At the end of the day, certainly you don't have DNA evidence.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
That would be scientific. That is going to overcome any individual's testimony about whose child it is.
Yes,
It's
Your
going to be scientifically DNA determined. And that's just the way nature is. I mean, that is going to bypass really the weight of individuals. I know the point you're making. You can end because number one, you're talking to witnesses, potential witnesses in a most serious type of case, sexual assault of a child. Number one, you don't know if that man is going to go to prison for a long time or not, because you're not going to be the jury.
Yes, sir.
And unless the only thing I think you really know about the law is maybe Law and Order reruns,
Yes.
because you're not speaking intellectually about this. Number one, right now, that defendant is presumed innocent under the law.
Yes, sir.
Number next, you're presuming something that hadn't happened, that's not in your power, that he's going to be found guilty. Number two, that he's going to be sentenced to a long time. He might be, but he's presumed innocent. Unless that happens, you're the last person on the planet who would dictate what would happen. Number next is, this is a child that was 12 at the time of the event, so it's maybe the child's 13 or 14. By talking to the child about what could happen and a lengthy prison term under your limited knowledge, about this, you're very limited, and I'm being nice about this. We call this ignorance of the law. You're ignorant of it because that's not the way it works. You're not the determiner. You're just making a prediction. But number one, why are you doing that? There can be only one really obvious reason: to make her feel guilty about coming forward and testifying. Because now you're going to interrupt me? Because he's a 12 or 13-year-old child. I've got children. I had children, little, and they've grown up to be wonderful people. I was fine. I know how children are. They're influenced by people who are close to them, like you. You got no reason talking about this case where she is a vital component as an evidentiary matter in a most serious case, a victim. But you're telling the child, the guys, that person is going to go to jail for a long time. Little children think of prison in a horrifying way. They don't think it's a good place. I don't care what they might be victimized. Children are more forgiving and don't want horrifying thoughts, unlike adults who thrive on that. All that could be done. All that you were doing is trying to make her feel guilty about being a victim and having to testify later, because you were putting on her conscience that going to prison a long time would be her fault. Wrong. That is forbidden in front of me. That's almost sinful. You got no business making her feel bad and talking about what could happen, because you're not in control of it. You're the last person to be on a jury in that case. You'd be the last person on the planet. You'd never get on it because by law, you're too close to it. But it's obvious what, as an objective listener, what you were trying to do, make her feel guilty. So you have lost your phone privileges as well. And the jail is going to monitor. You can speak to your attorney. That's it. But this tampering with witnesses maneuver that for the second time I've heard on a most serious case, which is so transparent and so obvious, is not going to happen again. You've lost your privilege. You understand?
I think she absolutely understands. I agree with you.
Well, we'll see whether, I don't know if she understands or not, but it's the order of the court.
No.
And you violate the order and you'll be in more trouble. And is the grand jury considering indicting her for some additional?
So we're gonna have to get an investigator to write up a statement over this and present that to the grand jury, get one of the officers or investigators to do that. I just got a lot of this information within like the last
Let me
week.
ask, what's her bond in this case?
It was 100,000, Your Honor.
Mhm.
And also, Your Honor, I would just note that Mr. Booker admitted on the stand a while ago that both he and Miss Davis were taking funds off of the victim's child support card and using for their commissary. The only way for Miss Davis to do that was to use these communications outside, calling Paige Davis to get her to do that for them. So that's another
She's lost her
reason. Yes,
she's
sir.
lost all phone privileges except to the lawyer.
And Judge, like I said, in the conversation that was inappropriate, but, and I'm not arguing that point, but just based upon what was said when we started the hearing, and he's just following my logic. To my understanding, the state's position is that she somehow tampered with the witness by threatening the witness, one, and then hold on, and then in the reading of the motion, and I read it word for word, trying to get the witness to testify untruthfully. On neither one of those points did I hear a threat, because I know you was listening too. Did I hear a threat that came from her, one, and then two, I didn't hear anything where she told that little girl, you get to court and you go lie and testify untruthfully. The only thing she said was, is this dude here, he gonna get a whole bunch of time. Now, that's not saying testify untruthfully. That's not saying go lie to the judge. And you heard, so on the things.
You made your point, you
Yeah.
made your point. A reasonable inference from this can be drawn, and that is not making the child feel guilty, and which would cause reluctance for the child to testify. That's not right.
Right.
And she's speaking about things that she has no authority of anywhere.
Right.
She doesn't have the authority, so why would she pull that out of thin air? She doesn't have that authority. It's a jury to decide whether he's guilty or not for the first place.
Right.
And then a jury to decide, because he wants a jury to determine how much time, not you. And to somebody close to tell a child, he's gonna go to jail prison for a long time. I was a child too, and I know what I would think of as a child. I know what my children would think of. They think prison is a horrifying place. It ought to be thought that way because there's nothing good about it. But it was in this context only reasonably. You can only reasonably state that you pulled that stunt to try to intimidate the child in testimony later. And that would cause the child reluctance to come forward because children by their very nature don't want to hurt people. Unfortunately, adults evolve. Some adults evolve different from their child behavior, their child instincts. But the innocence of that child, which has been lost in the first place when she was impregnated, is further being tampered with. And I'm not going to put up with that. I'm going to protect little children to the end. And we're going to, this whole due process of law is not going to be interfered with by people like you who don't know any better or don't act any better. Your privileges are lost. On the money thing, this using money,
Yes.
what is the state asking for in a remedy? Because I'm going to deal with it.
As far as that as well, Your Honor, we would just request that also the bond be increased, but we'll certainly try and see how much money was on there to try and look at potential restitution on that, as well as contacting the civil court that ordered that and making them aware of that and seeing what other potential criminal acts were out of that.
All right, I've heard enough to believe that this bond should be increased by what is obvious an attempt to tamper with a witness. I want to know, though, there are these, I am limited from what I'm hearing here.
Yes, sir.
But it's for additional, the executive branch of government and either misdemeanor charges or grand jury review that needs to move forward
Yes, sir.
on some other matters to
Yes, sir.
add to the mess that I've heard about already that are in these indictments. We've got additional problems that are being perpetrated in the jail. And that's another reason I'm going to do my best to help the jail employees and the jail personnel ensure that it is a safe environment, and also it is not an environment where additional criminal actions are perpetrated. And I will take extreme actions, and you have now been, your voice has been stifled. You're not going to be communicating except through your lawyer. And then that is the only method, unless there's something that the jail personnel can determine where they listen in. But first of all, it's pretty foolish. Doesn't everybody know over there that those phone calls are being recorded? I mean,
Yes, Your Honor.
why would you? What person with any amount of intelligence at all would start risking further criminal liability when they're being recorded? But generally, the people in jail have made foolish decisions to get into the jail, and I don't expect them necessarily to change their foolish behavior when they're in jail. But your bond is increased to 200. It's double. On what I heard, that is a criminal act of trying to tamper with a witness, your bond is increased to $200,000. If you post a bond, you will be at home confinement and GPS, and we'll have no contact at all with that child, victim in this case of what the Mr. Booker was charged with,
Yes, Your Honor.
and no one on your behalf will have any contact. I find otherwise, then we'll deal with that. And the problems just keep doubling each time. We're gonna have people following the rules. Do you understand? Or else you will pay a high price. And when you're tampering, when we're dealing with children who have been victimized like this, I'm gonna protect them. And hold people highly accountable, and it's gonna sting. I can't imagine. This kind of, a poor child having to go through this. Your behavior has to change. And you have to start acting more like a family member. That's a loving family. That is supposed to represent, as an adult, good role modeling for the children. You're not. Anything else to add? What are we doing about a trial or something?
Yes, Your Honor, we'd asked to set it on the trial docket. We'd been kind of waiting on Miss Davis for the other one to go to trial, but we'd go ahead and set it for the
All
trial.
right, it will be done. And Captain Minner, anything you want to add that in this situation that you feel like the jail needs on behalf of the court under any kind of orders that would ensure that the jail personnel are be able to do their job efficiently?
I'll need the appropriate paperwork to turn off everything for both inmates. Everything that's needed, postal mail.
Okay, who's gonna prepare that? I guess,
I could get with the staff, go over that, Your Honor, if you'd like me to, as far as all the communication, except for with the attorneys, correct? Through the, okay.
is a memo that I signed?
As long as it's signed by you, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That shouldn't be good. Langston, anything you need on behalf of your client here? on
Well, as
this?
long as they keep the communication open with me and her, I'd be fine.
Yeah, that's, I'm not gonna mess with the Constitution.
He'll be able to talk to her and book him either through Zoom or personal.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that it doesn't go out to people other than him.
It'll
And
only
I
be-
trust him. I just don't trust you, and from what I've heard. Anything else? We are in recess. Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you, Judge.
You're good.
Whew. Man, like I said multiple times, I couldn't imagine being a parent and doing something like that or allowing something like that to happen to my child. Judge Stevens is doing it right. He is slamming the book at her and making sure she actually pays consequences. And I hope he follows through, which I'm sure he will. If you want to see more drama like this, make sure to like and subscribe to Daily Courtroom Drama, where we upload twice a day. And I'll see you on the next one.